Welcome to the Old-Fashioned Three. They've been around basketball from the Big Dipper to the Greek Freak, from Russell Celtics to Curry's Warriors, from Peach Baskets to Paolo Banchero. Here are Whitey Gleason, Phantom, and Jerry Reynolds.
Yes, that was that cat, all right.
We're back, the old-fashioned three, better than ever. It's great to see you guys again. Fan, looks like you went spring training, huh?
Yeah,
Got spring training hat. Tell us about spring training.
Went down and picked up a couple hats down in spring training.
Did
Yeah, I want to go down there and check out the boys, see how the boys of summer are doing.
Yeah.
Early in March. So I went down there, and I didn't go to spring training. Stones did and bought me a bunch of stuff. Come on, come on. What am I? I'm going to spring training. Come on.
Probably a bunch of hats, Jerry.
I don't leave my zip code, Jerry. You know that.
I know that.
I
know that. I mean, my God.
We don't go anywhere. Come on, spring training.
Hey, big debate was going on. Well, I don't know if it was a debate. It's unfair to paint you in that corner. We were talking about Drew Timme before we began the episode. Drew Timme, what is he, 48 now?
He's the 49. Yeah, I just had a birthday.
Yeah, Gonzaga. What a game last night. Gonzaga over UCLA. And Jerry was suggesting Drew Timme probably could play in the association. And I'm not sure, Mr. Basketball, if you disagreed with that.
He could play, yeah. I'm saying that in today's game, maybe if he expands his range a little bit and gets a knockdown shot from about 15 to 18 feet, or goes like one of the various Lopez brothers and all of a sudden develops a three-point shot, which makes him invaluable, I think it would help his chances. But right now, I think what they say about him, middle second round, something like that, seems about right.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it really goes exactly back to what you said. He's got to be able to make free throws and make a perimeter shot.
Have a shot.
The reason I think he could do it, and I don't know that he will, but he reminds me so much of Brad Miller when Brad was in college. Now, it's also true Brad wasn't drafted.
Well, there you go.
He's an undrafted player, went to Europe and played, and then, of course, the rest is history, a two-time All-Star.
Is that where he developed his post game in Europe?
Well, he had no post game in Europe or at Purdue or at
so that's where he maintained
Kendallville High School in Indiana, I think. But the guy, of course, in Brad's case, he was a great passer who could spot shoot from the perimeter.
Right.
And this guy, I mean, Timmy's got tremendous footwork and ability around the basket. You'd think there's a spot for it. I'm kind of like you. I think he, maybe it's a team that probably likes to have an inside game of some sort, and probably a backup guy.
Oh, definitely a backup.
But
guy,
I mean,
a rotation
there's been
guy,
a lot of players worse than him play in the NBA.
Yeah. By the way, before we get to the Kings, speaking of centers and smaller centers that got to play outside, reminds me of one of the first things I learned about basketball years and years ago watching the NBA on ABC with Chris Schenkel and Jack Twyman, whatever it was. And I remember watching with my brother and this Lou Alcindor cat who was pretty good. They'd play the Knicks. They're on TV all the time. And I was asking my brother, Mr. Basketball, that guy's like 6'9". How can he play against, Lou Alcindor? And he said, well, he goes outside and he makes that shot. The great Willis Reed. And condolences, Jared.
Yeah.
Of course, we lost the great Willis Reed this week.
Yeah, just gosh, what a great man. I was telling somebody today. It's like with Willis, or when you meet some of your heroes, and often you can be down because they're not quite what you thought they were, or their flaws maybe are a little more apparent, whatever. Willis, to me, as great a player as he was a greater guy. I mean, he was absolutely no ego, hard worker. I mean, you could just see being around him why he succeeded, sad day because, I mean, that guy was just the best. I was so lucky to work with him. I mean, he really, had a lot of good ideas and great stories. A little bit like with Russell, except they're so different. I mean, Bill Russell was such an instinctive guy, and Willis was, plugging ahead. Let's go out there and outwork them out. Just no quit kind of thing, toughness, all that. I mean, yeah, great man, and kind of I know he had a farm in Louisiana that he went to, of course, passed, I think, there. And, I always used to tell my wife, I said, Willis Reed, he'd fit in and, Southern Indiana very well. I mean, he was never a New York guy.
No.
He played for the Knicks, but he wasn't a New York guy.
Yeah. Pretty good teams he was on there.
Was he? I was going to say, all the stars that were on the teams, the Knicks in the early 70s, Bradley and Frazier and everything. Was he basically, though, was he like the captain? Was he the lead guy on those teams?
Yeah, I'm sure he was. I mean, everybody I running time would, it's one of those, that was a captain.
Captain,
that's what I thought, yeah.
And I've talked to Frazier quite a bit over the years. He still does the broadcast and everything. Yeah, he'd always say that. And, I mean, just the Knicks themselves at that time, and of course Willis was a part of it, as you pointed out, because he was such a good perimeter shooter, to 20 feet.
Yeah.
And they all at that time they had used the three or had the three, but the ball moved so beautifully, like kind of like it did during the best times of the Warriors,
player
or the
movement,
Kings.
ball movement, yeah.
And but each guy could pass, shoot, and pass and shoot, and boy. And never stuck.
Yeah.
The ball never stuck.
Yeah, the ball was made to be passed, Phantom, not dribbled.
I agree. I agree with that. The thing about with Willis Reed too is when you saw people reporting on his passing, the interesting thing is what they put in the headline. A couple of times I've seen, Willis Reed, who made a jump shot with a sore leg he's so much more than that.
Oh yeah.
I would just go Willis Reed Hall of Famer passes, not Willis Reed who made a jump shot when his leg was sore one time and got all the attention. That's one thing that people focus on, obviously. But he was so much more than that and so much greater than that. I think that kind of minimizes him a little bit.
Yeah, I mean it sure does. I always the unique story about Willis to me was he said, where he was drafted, he said, I was a second-round pick. And he said, I was 9th.
He wasn't lottery.
First pick in the second round.
Yeah. That's what a lot of times, the J.J. Reddicks of the world haven't thought out. I mean, you can make whatever case you want to make, but it's like there's an awful lot of awfully good players.
Yeah.
Didn't the best of the best. There's only 8 teams.
Pretty dense there with just the 8 teams. Yeah.
So he said I was 9th pick, and he said, I'd have made a lot of money being 9th pick. Now I didn't make squat then.
Yeah. Former Kings assistant Willis Reed. Didn't see a lot of mention of that in the media, but anyway, we're going to miss number 19, right? The great Willis Reed.
The great Willis Reed.
Yeah. Now, a few weeks ago on this podcast, we were talking about where the Kings are going to end up. And I know we all were suggesting they're probably going to slide a little bit because of things the other teams did and looking at the schedule. Well, the Kings have held pretty steady at 2. Now they've slid to 3rd, but they've lost their last 2 games in a row. Is this the beginning of that slide that we were anticipating? Is that what's going on at all?
I don't think so. I mean, I think
I don't either.
I think the Utah game was, tough. Utah's tough for the Kings to match up with. I think Utah has a good zone defense, which I really don't think the Kings do well against the zone.
They're going to see a little more of that, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to adjust to it because I think it affects Sabonis more than any other player, and that's a key. We saw that with the Toronto Raptors when they came in and beat the Kings. They really did it with a lively zone, and I think that's what the Pacers did. So and they were tired as a tired team, I think. And then really the Celtics, I know probably some Kings fans would not agree or be offended, but they're just better. Now here again, Kings certainly look like a tired team second half, but Celtics are a better team. And they went to the finals last year, and they've added Malcolm Brogdon, and so. Why wouldn't they be?
Yeah, Fazula's doing a good job as the coach there.
Yeah, it seems like there's at least one of a string of losses there is a kind of a schedule loss because the way the schedule was set up. The one thing that does concern me about the Kings, the last 3 home games they played.
Is this your stat
this
that
is my
alarms
stat
you?
That alarms me.
Oh, beware. Stat that alarms him.
Actually doing something he tweeted out. Incredible. What a professional. The last 3 home games, Knicks, Bucks, and Celtics, they've been outscored 216 to 170 in the second halves of those 3 games at home. And, those are all good teams, but you're playing good teams in the playoffs. And I would think, and we've talked about it, it's mentioned a lot of the fact that they have a better road record, but you're at home against good teams. You've got to do better. I mean, that's an average of 15 points a game each second half that of the deficit that you have. So that's somehow it's incongruous with the best fans in the NBA, and you're losing the second half of these last 3 games so much.
That is, I mean, I didn't realize that. I mean, kudos to
that?
the
Yeah.
fandom. I mean, that is that's something to think about, no question.
Yeah, well, they played the Knicks, even though they beat the Knicks, I think it was 64-53, and then, of course, the Bucks came out and scored like 80 on them in the second half, and that skews it. But even this last game against Boston, I mean, they handled them. I think they scored 72 in the second half. So it's just curious. I don't know if it's a trend or what it is, but the second half of games at home, it should be when you're stepping up and not stepping back.
Yeah, but you're playing such good teams.
Yeah, but you're supposed to be a good team.
They did beat the Knicks.
Yes,
yeah.
but you're supposed to be a good team too.
But I do think that some of it it's what you've pointed out in the past. I mean, their whole reason for success is good offense.
Their persona.
And both the Knicks and the Celtics are about as good a defensive teams as there is in the league. I mean, they play hardcore defense, physical. That's kind of who they are. Not that they can't score too, but I think they're a legitimate defensive team, both of those, and I think that's a little bit of it. If you can, when you can make it tough on the Kings' offense,
absolutely,
because you quite honestly, you're going to score on them.
And you mentioned the Bucks in there too, right? The Bucks are phenomenal defensively.
Yeah.
Like virtually every spot on the floor.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, you probably talk about the 3 best man-to-man physical teams in the league right there. And
well, I can grant that you're going to shut me down a little bit in the second half, even though this home court advantage, we should do better at home. But I mean, you're giving up 64 to the Knicks and 80 to the Bucks and 72 to the Celtics. And defense leads to offense, but those numbers are astronomical, even to Mr. Defense Schmefense.
Yeah,
I get alarmed by that.
You're right, but I would also suggest that game against Boston, home court and all that, but it's one of these cliches of the first home game after a road trip is almost like another road game. So the home court a little bit negated in that sense.
And the back-to-back to boot. And here again, I don't like every team goes through it, but I was talking to Grant Napier the other day.
Grant Napier?
What are we going to do? Okay.
Oh, they're terrible. Second half. Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding? But anyway, I pointed out to Mr. Napier because some things need to be pointed out to him, I said,
yes, some things do.
As we have talked about over the years, you do play 41 home, 41 on the road. Okay.
Yes.
And everybody has back-to-backs.
Everybody has 5 and 7.
The point is, here's the point. I know you're waiting for it.
I'm on the edge of my seat, literally.
Is that the schedule will win you games, and there are games in there that the schedule will lose
automatic.
you games.
Yeah.
And I mean, and to me, that the Boston was a scheduled loss.
Yeah.
And just like some of the games the Kings have had when teams come in often on a back-to-back and 2 or 3 other main players weren't really playing, come on, those are scheduled wins.
Yeah. So you feel any better about it now?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
Well, see, that's the thing. What Utah comes in, and I know that's a schedule thing, but you talk about Markkanen not playing. Tonight, Ayton's not playing and Durant's not playing, and tonight's a huge game as far as, I'm sure we'll get into the standings and everything, but tonight's like a two-edged sword. They could cut a couple of games off of that magic number to get that number 3 seed tonight, so it's a big deal. So the fact that other teams don't have people isn't as reassuring when you're the Kings as it is sometimes when the other teams.
Nobody's ever at full strength anymore, right?
No,
Here we are
there's
talking
no
about
such
Willis
thing.
Reed. Nobody in any game, it seems like, is ever at full strength anymore.
No,
And if you were, you wouldn't know what to do.
And now, is LeBron coming back for the playoffs if they're in?
He doesn't like you speculating
about
that.
I know.
They got Austin Reeves. They don't need LeBron.
I
They
tell you
got
what,
King Austin.
Austin Reeves is a plenty good player, I'll tell you that. I mean, one thing about it is, I know the LeBron fans will think I've went off Morocco, which I have.
You have
That happened a long time ago.
occasion.
Yeah, it did. It really did.
That rocker's been sold at auction.
Yeah, but I mean, the ball moves so much better on this Laker team. Everybody kind of knows that Anthony Davis is the guy.
Oh, yeah.
And really, you've got a better roster. And
Austin
Darvin
Reeves
Ham,
on the ball is like he's
Well,
that's
he
why he's
dribbles
better.
down the court and he looks for other people. It's
Yeah.
incredible. He goes,
Yeah.
I'm gonna pass it to that guy. What are you doing?
Well,
You're
it's
not
like-
backing your guy in. You're not
Yeah.
taking 3-pointers.
You're not using 18 seconds on
Do
the
you
clock.
Do you belong in this league at all?
But I mean, really, it is as simple to me as the roster's better, and they're using the roster better because the ball doesn't stick anywhere.
Because they have to.
Because
they have to use the roster better, or else they don't get anywhere. But you still need a guy, and I think we talked about it in the last couple of shows. Austin Reeves is like the old-fashioned John Stockton guy. He's not John Stockton at all, obviously, but he comes down, and his idea is, I'm going to get my teammates involved. I'm going to initiate the offense, and then if I need to, I can score myself. But he gets everybody involved right away, and you don't see that with every team.
No, you don't. And there again, there's a guy that's undrafted player that's going to make a lot of money, and there's going to be a lot of teams with free agent money that's going to be looking at Austin Reeves. I mean, I think the Lakers certainly seem to develop Malik Monk for the Kings, and I think they're developing Austin Reeves
for whoever,
for somebody else.
Phantom, I know you also wanted to talk about some of the major awards. I know a lot of Kings fans are getting pretty irritated by some of the talk. I was speaking with Jerry yesterday about this notion that I think John Hollinger in The Athletic is championing, that, hey, Mike Brown looks like Coach of the Year, but boy, if Oklahoma City keeps playing like this, Coach Dagnall, maybe he's Coach of the Year. Kings fans are going nuts over that, including this gentleman right here.
Yeah, that's just the guy John Hollinger is going, I need some clicks. My bosses are bugging me. I need to find something.
How is that going to get clicks, though?
Because all the Kings fans are, what the heck is he talking about? It's incredible.
You don't like that notion, do you?
It's ridiculous.
You hate it.
It's ridiculous. No, Mike Brown is the Coach of the Year. It's official.
We
right
still
here.
got some pizza left in the box.
You got to get a couple more dubs. Put those in
Well,
your pocket
unless
there,
Oklahoma City's going to win their last 10 and the Kings lose their last 10, and you're right. Until the regular season, it's a regular season award.
That's right.
Until it's over, it's not over. Yogi Berra isn't. It's not over till it's over.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Sure.
For those of you who didn't know that.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's guys who've done nice jobs, and I think Dagnall's done a nice job.
Taylor
Oklahoma
Jenkins
City
has been mentioned here and there.
Yeah, but
team's pretty
Oklahoma
successful.
City's better than they
Your
were
guy
last year.
Fazula's done a good job.
Missoula.
Yes,
Not
yes.
Fazula, but Missoula.
Whoever it is.
Yeah, so there's several candidates that will get votes, but there's only one that really can win it, and that's Mike Brown, because it's the first year that he's been in Sacramento, so his impact is clearly more evident than
Obvious impact,
Yeah.
So that's it.
I know. I
Done.
understand that. But
Done.
the expectations for
Why is
the
he pushing your
Thunder
buttons right there?
were
I know,
the expectations for the Thunder were like they're not even trying.
Well,
And they got 20 guys that are 18 years old.
Yeah.
And they lost last night, which is going to put a dent in Coach Dagnall's.
Yeah, there you go. It was
flickering
until last
Coach
night,
of the Year
it
hopes,
was-
but still,
it was 50-50
it is-
until last night.
It is an incredible story.
Yeah.
They got 17 guys named Jalen Williams.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes,
So-
which is a
And
formula
one of them's
now.
really good.
It's a formula now. You want to go. It used to be Jason Williams. Now it's Jalen
Now it's
Williams.
Jalen Williams.
Everybody's
Well, that's
called
the
him.
other and I know you know John Hollinger. I don't know him. I read his stuff, but he also suggested, hey, this Rookie of the Year thing, Paulus played really well, but Jalen Williams is coming on, so I'm not sure.
Sounds like John was trying to poke the bear a little bit.
I think
there,
he that's what he does, and he's right that Jalen Williams, the one, if the one I'm thinking of is
the Santa Clara one, yeah.
is
but Paulo
is,
he's been the man all season.
Oh
long,
yeah, he's gonna win it,
And he deserves
that's-
to
Went
win.
into a shooting slump, Phantom.
And
that's all.
and
That's
I
good.
mean,
okay.
look at the rookies. I mean, Jabari Smith is playing a lot better of late. Looks more like what you thought
Right.
he'd be, and of course Keegan's playing much better as we thought he would. He's gotten better about every month, and and so Matherin's I think kind of slid a little bit.
I think he had some injuries too, didn't he?
Some minor injuries, and I'm not sure. I don't know. He's just one of those guys that when you start as a rookie talking about being the best player in the history of the game, I think
Well, he has a little ways to go, but I mean, he's been impressive. He's got a couple double-digit games. So
Yeah,
that's-
no,
so
I
he's
mean,
well on his way.
I'm not saying he couldn't be the greatest player in the history of the game, but he's off to a bad start.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's
even
not-
for
he's not- yeah.
as far as all-time greatness.
I think the thing is, Keegan, I think, has solidified that first-team All-Rookie.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, he might have been slipping away a little bit there a couple weeks ago, but I think he's got his way back in, and that's kind of a big deal.
Is this something, or is this nothing? You guys tell me. A
I'm
couple
gonna say
weeks ago,
nothing.
I was in with Rami, in for Nick Cattles, and I was on the afternoon show on Sports 1140.
I think
I
that's
listened
it.
to you.
Yeah.
You were damn near average. You really,
Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah, he's
that.
really picked his game up.
We
hasn't he?
talked to
Yeah.
Jordy Fernandez, right? And I asked him about, hey, Sabonis playing with this broken thumb. what does that do for the rest of the team? The bar is high when you have a guy that your best player doing that. And he goes, yeah, him and Keegan both. And me and Rami are like, what's up with Keegan? And so Rami followed up like, we didn't know, was he injured? He backed off the whole thing. So either he made a mistake and meant to say, I don't know, Herder or Keegan's got
Maybe
something
Kevin,
physically that we don't know. I just thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, I hadn't heard anything.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't notice anything.
Wow.
Nobody said anything.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's see.
So
Look at you guys breaking the news. I like that.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
you got to follow up on that.
Yeah. Well, we did, and then he
Call
was
him
like,
out on it.
coaches
Come on,
are.
coach.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
it's good. It is great. I mean, when a star plays hurt, and then a rookie, a high drafted rookie that if he's hurt and does play, that may explain why the Kings are where they are.
Yeah, yeah. Anything else you got on the NBA awards, family?
Well,
a lot of people are upset.
I wanted to
because
talk
they want Fox and they
Yes.
want Sabonis, all NBA.
This is what when I first tweeted this out like 3 weeks ago. Fox was kind of on the outside looking in, and I thought maybe, considering what he's done in the fourth quarter and everything, and the fact that at that time SGA and Curry were both out, and so a couple of the guys that you thought would be on that All-NBA team were out. I thought, well, maybe there's a little avenue for Fox to sneak in. I think Sabonis is third team center. I don't think that's even a question. I think that was done a while ago. But I thought maybe there's a way for Fox to sneak in there. Now SGA and Curry are both back, and now Ja is also back. So it's going to be a lot tougher. But what Fox has done on a team that's had success and what's he done in the fourth quarter to kind of contribute to that success, I think puts him squarely in the conversation for one of the top 6 guards in the league when it comes to All-Star vote or
that's
All-NBA
tough, though,
vote.
I'd say.
It's
Elite
tough because everybody
company.
is tough, but I mean, SGA is 31 points a game is just ridiculous, and now that he's back, he'll get enough games. Curry missed a bunch of games. Morant's missed a couple of games, and I think maybe there are people who won't vote for Ja now because, the situation. I think perhaps that's a situation that we'll see. But I think there is an avenue for Fox. Maybe the last couple of games might be really important in that. But he's getting noticed nationally for what he's doing, especially in clutch time.
No, you can make the case, and I think there's a lot of other cases you could make. I mean,
Yeah.
I do think a couple of guys that had been considered in the past, Ja and Trae Young.
Trae Young, I think, is
they're not in the picture now for various things.
leading the league in assists.
Play and whatever.
Yeah.
But then, I think some other guys, that aren't being discussed as much as they should, like Jalen Brunson.
Yeah.
At some point, you gotta kind of consider him impact he's had now. And does Jaylen Brown? What position is he?
I don't think they've ever figured that out.
I know he's really good.
I think, yeah.
I
would consider him a 2, I guess.
That's
but,
what
I
I'd
mean,
consider him. If Tatum's a 3, then what is he? He's not a 4.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
There's
Anyway.
a lot of competition, but I think Fox has got his way solidly in that discussion.
and the national media, are talking about him a little more. But yeah, it's a tougher route for a guard. There's some automatics. Curry,
Luka.
Curry, and Lillard and Luka.
Yeah.
You
You forget about Lillard because they don't win any games, but the guy is absolutely
he's
amazing.
Lillard, and so
he's,
you do
he's
that.
missed some games, but I think he'll probably still have a big enough number.
So he used to be Bradley Beal automatically, but
Yeah,
that
Bradley
ship is,
Beal and Trae Young are kind of on the outs
Oh,
right now.
yeah,
Yeah,
Bradley, come on.
Even in an era where virtually every player complains about every call,
Yeah.
Luka still somehow stands out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He really
not
does.
just the how often he complained, the way he complained. It's just yeah. Oh yeah.
Flashing the money sign.
What did you guys think of what they're calling in Dallas the Cuban whistle crisis? With
Yes, I liked
the
that.
Mavs. I wish I'd thought about it.
I know.
The-
So
the-
bizarre watching that and going, what's going on there? But I think you tweeted out as far as if they thought the ball, it was their ball, why didn't they go get it or
And
something
who
like
said
that?
the same? Vince Carter asked the same thing.
Yeah, and if they thought it was their ball, why didn't anybody on their team go to the ref and go, "Hey, wait a minute, it's our ball"? I mean, that's
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, well, if it's our ball, then give it to us. Why wouldn't
Right.
you go to where the
They all
why
went to
wouldn't
the
you-
other end.
Yeah, if you went, why wouldn't somebody go inbound the ball if you thought it was your ball?
Yeah,
no,
we-
we're going to put all 5 guys on the other side, and how you get
the
the ball
ball went
inbounds?
out of bounds there, so
Yes.
there's no way, no matter what happened, that the ball's coming in down
Right.
there.
Yeah.
It wasn't a change of course. It was
No, you have to
Yeah.
inbound the ball where it goes out, and you thought it was your ball,
Now,
and you
coach
sent all 5 of your guys
Coach
the other
says
way.
it was kind of the referees didn't handle it well.
well,
No, but
Well, I mean, what are they required to tell the team, hey guys, it's not your ball, what do you want to do?
Right.
They're
Cuban
required
said,
to say whose ball it is. I mean,
but Cuban said, it was the PA announcer said it was our ball. And for the referees are like, okay, that's not our
probably somebody in the third row said that too.
Yeah.
it was off that guy. Okay, he said it, so it's our ball. Yeah.
And one of the assistant coaches and Cuban himself said our ball.
Yeah.
But nobody on the team went to get the ball.
That's right.
So that's the thing.
No,
to me.
they're dead in the water. They it's on them. I mean, it is on them. I could see where, like you said, I could understand a little confusion. But if you thought it was your ball, that's it.
And I love the Looney when he got the ball when they inbounded. He's got to look. I mean, in that situation, if it's me, I'm looking around.
Yeah.
Is there a reason that
Am I getting pranked?
Where's Ashton Kutcher? Am I being punked here?
Yeah.
Sitting there,
Yeah.
and then he finally kind of goes to the
that's
basket.
exactly what he
He
asked.
goes to the basket
Where's
and
Ashton
kind of lays it in and goes,
Yeah.
and then looks around and goes, did I score a basket? Yeah.
And he said, there's Ashton Kutcher. No, that's Kyle Korver.
That's
Kyle
Kyle Korver.
What's he doing
Oh,
there?
my
Yeah.
God.
Very strange.
Very strange.
But,
Just about strange was Cuban going to, as if he's entitled to run to the scorer's bench.
yeah.
Well, anybody can go, as we talked about. Anybody seated close to the scores table, and I can just go up there. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Won't be long till he checks himself in.
He's
I
going to
guess.
check himself in. That's what I was watching the game the other day when LeBron's not playing and he's sitting down on the bench, and then 2 seats over from LeBron on the bench, there's a baby.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute. It's getting a little bit too much now.
Well,
Lakers are going young.
Yeah, they are going really young. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
it's, at some point, I'm telling you, in my lifetime, I'm pretty confident I'm going to see the time where the players are sitting and the coaches behind. They're going to sell all those seats.
Yep.
And then I'm serious. You'll have a head coach, and maybe one assistant coach that'll be allowed to have a seat, or maybe just one seat.
And they'll have the headsets.
Have the headsets. They'll be in the locker room. Bring in the left-hander.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the NFL. They'll be up in the press box.
I know.
going,
I like that you got the coach, assistant coach, and then some woman just sitting there. I think that's fantastic.
I think it's great.
Yeah, she paid $18,000 for the ticket.
It's what they're.
I like it, Jerry.
I mean, it's right next to the scorer's bench now. Used to have media and stuff. Now the media are everywhere because you could sell those tickets for high prices, and I get it to some degree, but I don't get it to like Phantom's pointed out. No, you don't need people right next to the bench. You need to have.
Remember our friend Jake? He told us he was at a Kings game once, and I think he was sitting right at the end of the bench, so he was right next to, was it Vernon Maxwell when he was with the Sonics? And he signed a shoe for him before the game was over and gave it to him, and the game almost went into overtime, and Vernon Maxwell had already given away one of his shoes.
Yeah, we were there with J.R. Ryder doing something like that, too. So, yeah, absolutely. Vernon Maxwell, yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, when you have to get off the bench and pass in front of fans to check into the game.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not worried about – yeah, but I'm not worried about player safety that much. If a fan can be sitting right there as you walk by.
Yeah, and why can't – really, when you think of what they're paying for those tickets, why shouldn't they be allowed to get in the huddle too?
I think they should be able to make a sub.
Yeah.
Go ahead, you make one sub.
Who's got to play here?
Jerry, they're calling the season ticket. Listen, we got this plan. This is incredible. This is the executive plan.
Yeah.
You get to make 2 substitutions during the game.
Yeah.
$15,000.
Right.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I love it.
You're in charge of the challenge tonight. We get one.
That's a great idea.
It's $30,000. You tell us when you want to challenge.
So it'd be great on Dallas because Luka is signaling for the replay all the time. And
You're
the one who gets to do that.
play.
So you'll get to meet Luka, obviously. So there you go. That's a great ticket right there. Cuban will do that.
Dallas is just overall talented, but they're not very good. But again, it's hard to judge because
they're never on the floor.
You never have the whole team, no matter.
Yeah, I don't think they are talented. I think they have 2 really talented guys. But I think I've said it. If I could pick who the Kings play in the first round,
guys both said that.
it would be Dallas because I just don't think they're very good. Now, that's the good news. The bad news is you got 2 guys you can't guard on that team.
Right.
And if they're both rocking and rolling,
they can't really figure it out. I mean, I don't think it's selfishness on either part. It's just that the pieces just don't seem to fit.
Well, they're both ball stoppers. They're both great with the ball. And I mean, it's like with Jalen Brunson was there, he could take he could be great when Doncic's off floor, but he could play with Luka. And without the ball, he was good. And really, I don't think Kyrie is that that good with Luka.
And they give up a lot at the other end too. So there's efficiency issues.
Their
with
defense,
them.
defense as well.
Well,
yeah.
When Maxi Kleber's the guy you're counting on.
Yeah, the other day he only had 4 points, and the
invisible
announcer's
man.
like, "I'll tell you, Kleber with only 4. That's going to hurt him." Like,
Yeah.
come on, you put it all on Maxi.
Well, I think
I
he's
knew
just
you'd
saying-
be upset.
Yeah, he's
because
just
you love
saying
the
he's-
guy.
You got to, if you're Maxi Kleber on that team without Kyrie, he's got to do something.
We gotta
He's gotta
have Maxey.
some kind of
Yeah.
impact. And he was just like, "I'm fine. I don't want to
No,
go."
stop. We're not
Yeah.
doing accents anymore. No.
Oh boy,
What? Well, he's German. It's just
Yeah, and that was it. You nailed it. Yeah. Oh, boy.
that's telling
Yeah.
a German
That
accent
was
to you.
How about the
thought it was in Berlin.
How about the team that the Kings are playing? The Suns, another team. And I know they have no Durant, but watch them. I think we were talking about this yesterday, and sometimes they just seem like, something's lacking. Devin Booker's phenomenal.
Oh, Durant. That's what's lacking.
Yeah,
I know, but the way they play, you're right. But the way they play is kind of underwhelming.
It is. I mean, they really now they depend so much on Booker, and he's terrific.
He's so
but
good.
I don't, I mean, I don't think he's the kind of. He's not Kobe.
Nope.
He may be a better pure shooter, but he can't. He's just not going to be able to get you 35 every night if he's defended well. And without Durant, well, you can double him a lot and get it out of his hands, and then no Ayton either.
I think they miss Bridges and Cam Johnson.
Oh,
too.
I
do
really
too.
think so.
I
We
do
talked
too.
about that when
Yeah.
they first made it. They said
Yeah.
these two guys are really good to Brooklyn.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, and it seems like to me a little bit. It's like, to your point, it's like, well, we'll be good when Durant gets back. Well, what are you going to do in the meantime?
Mm-hmm.
You guys need to be better now, and instead of just kind of waiting. It's like the old Rick Pitino thing. Bird and McHale and Parrish ain't walking through that door.
Of St. John's. Yeah. I mean, Phoenix is in trouble too because they're barely. I mean, we're talking about Kings. Beating them and getting them out for getting that number 3 seed, but the Suns are barely in that number 4. The Clippers and the Warriors right behind them and could easily flip flop, and the Warriors could easily move up into the number 4 spot.
I don't know if they could do it easily. You're
Well, they
right.
could do it.
They got the Sixers tonight.
Well, yeah,
The Sixers
that's
are
a
red
tough-
hot.
that's a
But
tough
guess
one.
what? Embiid and James Harden, they might play.
Yeah.
They might not.
Die.
Today's NBA.
They might play.
Hopefully, Doc says I think they'll play, but
And all
I
those
don't know.
kids in the Bay Area that wanted to see Joel Embiid that one time he came to town. Well, sorry, kids. Maybe next year.
Phantom, that brings us to Jersey City.
Yeah, Jersey City.
Tell us how this works.
Jersey
This is
City.
always
You're going
interesting.
to the game
Yeah.
tonight to see the Kings against the Suns, and you got to represent the Suns. You got to wear a jersey.
Now, why would you do
of one
that,
of the
by the way?
Suns.
Why would you go
Because
represent
that's
the
what the
Suns?
game is. Okay. Actually, I tried to get this if you were in Phoenix going to the
Okay,
game. Who would you
yeah.
wear? But that's way too confusing. So we're keeping it here at the G1C. So if
Yeah.
you're wearing a Suns jersey to the game, you're a Suns fan.
Huh.
This is your chance to see your team. You're going to the game. Which jersey are you wearing of the Suns? All the way back into 1968, I believe.
Me first?
Let's go with you first.
Okay. I think they're Aren't they the longest existing team that's never won a championship?
Well, you don't have to bring that up if you're a Suns fan. I mean, you just wear the jersey.
Number 24, Phoenix Suns,
Wow.
1975-76 Suns. Garherd, who made one of the most
Garherd.
amazing shots in NBA history, the turnaround jumper
Yeah.
that forced, what was that, the third overtime in that famous Game 4, the Suns and the Celtics in 1976.
Tremendous.
Yeah, they call a timeout. Coach McLeod, right, calls timeout.
Right.
Well, you don't have a timeout left, so that's a technical. So then Boston makes a free throw. They're down 2, but he knows we still get the ball, and they needed the timeout to advance it, throw it to Garherd, turn around top of the key. Good! We got another overtime.
Was it McLeod or was it Paul Westphal?
It's Paul Westphal.
Paul
Westphal
Westphal
played in the game.
I know, but he's the one who came up with the plan
Yeah.
to get the technical.
That's right.
And to do it, yeah.
But he wasn't the coach of the team.
No, but
okay.
he's the one. He was
Okay.
the coach on the floor. I'm not saying that that's a mistake. I'm just saying that I'd always heard it was Westphal who did that because he calculated
what?
the only way we have a chance is if I go ahead and do this.
Paul Westphal said he told me that's what he did.
Okay.
And
There you
it's
go.
and I mean it was in the papers. I mean,
I'll go with what he told
Coach,
you, yeah.
Coach McLeod didn't deny that.
Okay.
So anyway,
I
Paul
don't
Westphal.
read the papers. But anyway.
I don't
yeah.
even then he didn't read
Yeah.
the papers.
Well, they
yeah.
actually had sports writing back then.
Really?
Yeah.
Real sports, right?
Real,
yeah.
real.
It was odd 'cause
had just
Garherd
been
wasn't-
traded
yeah.
from the
Charlie
Celtics
Scott
to the Suns.
thing. Yeah, the Charlie Scott thing,
Anyway,
yeah.
number 24, Garherd.
Good one.
Great one.
Unlikely guy to hit that shot, but he nailed it,
Yeah. Well, my guy would be the guy who came up with the plan to win the game, Paul Westphal.
That's what I kind of thought, yeah.
Former Kings.
I heard it was John McLeod. Are you?
Yeah. That's what I heard, too. Yeah, Jerry, I don't know. Who
well,
told you that?
You're both damned idiots, so...
I knew that.
We knew that had nothing to do with this, yeah.
But Paul Westphal, the all-time great player for the Phoenix Suns, Hall of Famer, and a coach for the Kings, and absolutely just a wonderful man. Lost his life some few years ago.
Right.
Probably from just a selfish point of view, the easiest guy coach-wise that I ever dealt with. Just a delight. And he had the unfortunate situation. He had to coach DeMarcus Cousins, which was the impossible task.
Perhaps the most impressive item on his resume, I believe he was the NBA horse champion.
Yes, because he was ambidextrous, wasn't he?
Yeah, and I think Pete Maravich got sick or something. Yeah, seriously, I think that's what happened.
That would be why.
And Paul Westphal won the horse competition.
But Paul Westphal was one of those early guys that could use his left hand as well as right. He was amphibious. He could do that. Well, obviously mine.
Bob Lanier won at one time too, didn't he?
That was the one-on-one when they had the one-on-one championship.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, the one-on-one.
Yeah.
And he beat in one of the lead-ups to the finals. He beat my guy, number 42, Connie Hawkins, who obviously is my guy with the Suns. But he lost in that one-on-one to Bob Lanier, and I was so mad I couldn't. Bob Lanier doesn't do anything. He's just a big old guy out there.
Get over it.
Well, so then Harold Presley gave me a pair of Bob Lanier shoes.
I always remember when Jeff Petrie in that beat Bob McAdoo in the one-on-one.
How'd that go over with Bob?
He is bitter today. I'm serious.
When he sees Petrie,
every time I see him, he said, "You tell Petrie I can still kick his butt." You tell Petrie, and I tell Jeff, and he said, "Well, he didn't win it counted."
I think that was 1972,
71 or 2. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. McAdoo.
McAdoo and Connie Hawkins against Bob Lanier and Petrie. I think that's a pretty good 2-on-2.
Bob Lanier, and I could be wrong, I want to say he beat Tiny for the one-on-one championship.
That makes sense, yeah.
But I'm not sure.
Good matchup, yeah, good matchup.
Well, one year, didn't Barry Clemens either win it or come in? They had it a couple years.
Barry Clemens. Was he the
Cleveland Cavaliers
accountant? Was that Barry Clemens? Yeah,
he should have been, but he was actually on
the Cleveland.
Well, that's why the thing fell apart.
Once Barry Clemens wins something, whatever it is has to be discontinued.
Well, it's like Lanier. He just back guys down.
Yeah,
take the whole
big old butt of his.
St. Bonaventure.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, right?
Sorry, I thought, are you looking up Barry Clemens?
I'm looking it up. No, I'm not looking up. I'm looking up who Bob Lanier beat I hope he's not going to go for the chalk here on his favorite son.
No, I would go for that, but if I wasn't going for that, I would have to go with the guy who, those recent Suns teams with Steve Nash and everything, the guy that I would like, which was Amari Stoudemire.
Yeah.
Just an incredibly talented guy. I loved watching him play, and physically, he was one of the best. I mean, he didn't really, I don't think, achieve as much in his career as he was thought to do. But, I mean, physically, he was as good as anybody who was playing at the time. And I just really enjoyed watching him play.
Boy, and he's one of those rare 18-year-olds. Of course, LeBron's the outlier and everything. But he was ready to play right away.
And you looked at him and you could tell. The same with LeBron. It's like you look at Amari Stoudemire 18 and go, that guy, you just put him in right now.
Yeah, kind of like, to me, Stoudemire and Sean Kemp were kind of, because, they got better, but they were ready to be productive right away, as opposed to people assumed Kevin Garnett wasn't really.
Yeah.
He could play, but he wasn't.
A little skinnier, yeah.
It wasn't quite ready to be the star, and same way with Kobe, or Tracy McGrady. They didn't hit the road running like a couple of those guys. And, of course, LeBron was, like I say, an outlier to everybody, maybe Moses Malone as well.
Yeah.
Here you go, 1972 Vitalis one-on-one championship.
Oh, the Vitalis, I love it.
Can you imagine if they did this now? You had the best players, they played their matches before the season was even over, and then they recorded them and played them at halftime of games. 1972, 6'11", Bob Lanier prevailing in the championship over JoJo White.
JoJo White out of Kansas. Yeah, and, JoJo White's
Lanier,
a fine player.
Exploiting his height advantage, backed down White, and the dull thud of dribbles about 5 feet from the basket, pivoted, and just kept making that left-handed jump shot.
There you go.
Left-handed jump shot.
Yeah, no, it was
yeah.
That's what killed it. It's like,
and JoJo's over there going, hey, what am I going to do?
JoJo.
JoJo took him out and hit that, jumped up, hit that little jumper, and Bob Lee was like, whatever.
JoJo White from Kansas, right?
Kansas,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah. All right.
Jayhawk.
Yeah.
Great Celtic, yeah.
Speaking of old timers, old players, former players, Jared, it's time for Comp This. And this is where Jared gave us last episode. He gave us a player, past player, Phantom and I, compete to come up with the current player who's most like, in Jerry's mind, in Jerry's twisted mind, this former player. And can you, for those who maybe don't remember,
For a viewing audience.
I believe that would be Dan Issel.
Dan Issel.
Oh, Dan Issel.
Dan Issel from the ABA Kentucky Colonels and then the Denver Nuggets.
And Denver Nuggets, many-time All-Star. Head coach for the Nuggets. Very grouchy, unlikable person, by the way.
So that
I didn't know
makes
that.
sense that I would
Gotta
go
take
first
that
then,
in.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought I'd go first today.
Well, I was trying to make a joke
Yeah.
off the grouchy
Yeah.
and likable,
Okay,
but if
okay.
you want to be that, you go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because last time I think you didn't you go first last time?
I believe you did.
Okay, thank you, Jim.
Okay. The only guy I can think of who's similar to Dan Issel now, and the position has changed so much. This guy was really more like Dan Issel a few years ago, in my opinion, but prolific scorer, prolific rebounder, forward, center a little bit. Kevin Love. And that's I'm not going to mention anybody else. That's like the only guy. When you first said it, that's what I thought, and I can't really come up with. I'm sure there's other people. I couldn't come up with anybody else.
Well, I think that one is more the way that he played the game as far as his approach, I think, than my guy. My guy, I like to get a guy who looks the same dimensions and plays the game the same way, but I actually went for production with this guy, a power forward who goes inside, who goes outside and puts up the numbers, 20 points, 10 rebounds a game, and has to be, of course, at an all-star level because of Dan Issel. I went with Julius Randle.
Julius Randle. Okay. Well, certainly he puts up the numbers, and he's a power guy. I'd have to go with Whitey on this one. I mean, based on Kevin Love more in Minnesota during his All-Star.
Agreed.
They're very similar type players. Kevin not quite as big, I think, but great perimeter shooter for a big and a complete player. I think another one, honestly, I thought was probably Vucevic.
That hurts because that's the first guy I thought of. Man. Jerry, why'd you have to do that? I was all ready to go, why do you win? And now you're going to say that.
Oh, boy.
Oh, Jesus.
I did think of Julius. I said I couldn't think of anyone. I did think of Julius Randle, but it didn't quite fit for me.
It didn't quite. But I thought of Love, and then Love shoots. I think he was a little bit too much on the three-pointer to me.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But,
that
variations of it. But I think we both agree on Vucevic, and there you go. Why do you get the point, but it's Vucevic? Okay.
Yeah, you get the point, Whitey.
Yeah. I wish you would have gone with me, but
okay.
All right. Before we go, we should tell you about Drive-Thru Lobster.
Oh, fantastic.
Stones went to Arizona and got Phantom his hats, and he says that there's a place in Angie's.
There's about 8 or 9 of them in the area.
Angie's Lobster.
Drive-through lobster. Well, I mean, if you're going to go lobster, you go Phoenix.
Right?
Oh, Arizona lobster is probably the best.
Well, either there or Yuma.
Yeah, the next episode of next season of Deadliest Catch is going to be focused in Phoenix.
In Phoenix.
Yeah, because they
He
send the
says
boats out.
right? It was delicious.
Yeah, but the thing I like is that as soon as he told you guys about it, you went, did you check on that? Because it doesn't sound very good. And they did the
Lobster.
research. They did the research.
Well,
and they said, hey,
they have those
4-star
crayfish in Arizona. I don't know about lobster.
Well, they just.
Well, I'd suspect there's a lot of freezer trucks flying over coming over through the desert.
I would stake out one of the franchises and see what kind of traffic they're getting in and out.
But
he said it was great.
You find an underserved market. All the lobster lovers in Arizona.
See, if they had one like in Rockland or Granite Bay or Roseville, I mean, you could. It'd probably be the same lobster.
Yeah,
but people
think literally the same lobster.
But I mean, people think, well, pretty close to the ocean.
Yeah,
come on, 90 miles. There you are.
I know a guy that used to work in a butcher shop, and he said people come in. This was, I think, in San Francisco. People come in and they'd pick out a nice crab, and he's like, "Oh, that's weighed for you. Oh, well, look at that, it's a monster. Let me go cut it up for you, and I'll bring it right out." They'd go back and they'd get a smaller lobster. and then they'd bring out the.
What kind of bullshit is
I
that? What are you
know.
doing? Why are you doing that to
I
Stones?
know. And
Stones
he-
thought he was eating lobster. Now it turns out
Well,
it's
no,
tuna,
I don't-
it's
this-
tuna fish or something.
This
Come
doesn't
on.
necessarily have any bearing on.
The guy had a tuna
Angie's
sandwich, and he thinks it's
lobster.
lobster.
Oh, that's a beauty. Look how big that. I don't know what's big for a lobster. 18 or 12. I don't know. How big
I don't know.
Like, oh, let me just clean that up for you, and I'll bring it out. And they'd go and they put
What
the.
kind of crap is
And
that?
then the next person would come in and they go, "Hey, look at this big lobster."
That's
And they would see
disappointing.
I'm
how
never
many
going to
people
San Francisco
they
again.
can run that scam on. Can you believe that?
Well, I
Yes,
do.
I can,
The fact it's
unfortunately.
in San Francisco, I believe anything.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a friend of yours,
So,
obviously. Yeah.
I said I knew him. Did I say friend? said
I
knew
think
him.
it's pretty
Yeah.
obvious he was your friend.
God.
Do we have a comp this for next time?
We do.
Okay.
We do?
Staying with the Phoenix theme.
Oh, I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Tom Chambers.
Oh. I thought when you said that you were going to go Alvin Adams, but I like Tom
You know,
Chambers as well.
Chambers.
Yeah. Tom Chambers.
Actually, Alvin Adams would have been a good one for Dan Issel too. I mean, but they're same.
I like where you're going on that. Yeah. I like
But
where
I
you're
mean,
going on
Tom
that
Chambers, of course, Seattle Sonics.
That's
But
right.
he spent some great years there, All-Star many times, and then of course several-year All-Star with
Fine
the-
announcer, but he was the MVP of the All-Star game in 80-something.
Yeah.
Today I'm the best player in the world. Everyone went, come on. No.
Actually,
yeah,
that
there
was
you
the
go.
game. But
Hey,
no, you're not the.
that was the
Matherin
last
could do
All-Star
it.
game that I attended.
Yeah.
and watched the entire thing. Me and my wife and Tom, and you know they actually tried.
Yeah.
And Tom had one of those great
Yeah.
jumper, lively, really
Yeah.
dunked over about 4 or 5 guys.
Yeah.
And-
Yeah. But this was when Michael Jordan played and Barkley and these guys. Today I'm the greatest player in
Yeah,
the world. Like,
well, that's a
no.
Ricky Henderson kind of thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
Lou Brock was great, but today I'm the greatest of all
Yeah.
time.
That's like, lobster in Arizona. Come on.
Well,
that's what
I
that
tell you,
is.
Nebraska lobster is my favorite.
Yeah, I
love
was gonna
Nebraska
say.
lobster.
Well, that's like I always say. Every time I think of something like that, it's like that stupid movie, Jaws, which is a great movie, but all the spin-offs and the
Yeah, that's
Jaws
right.
3D?
They went to Nebraska or something.
yeah,
like
remember?
that, one of them.
Well,
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
the sheriff,
4, I
the
think.
sheriff's wife, the shark. She'd go move somewhere,
Yeah.
and the shark would follow
Yeah,
her.
he
Another
would,
shark.
sure.
Well, it's like, well, move to Omaha, damn it,
Yeah,
you'll be
yeah,
safe.
yeah. No, you wouldn't have. He had a GPS on her. He
Yeah.
could follow her
and
to
he was
Omaha.
driving.
He just
shark,
dri-
but he put shades on so you couldn't
Yeah,
see what
well,
he
he just hitch her right with a lobster going to Stone's
Yeah, I was
place.
gonna say I solved that problem right away.
Yeah.
Just moved to Omaha.
Moved to Nebraska. Ha ha! Ha ha! Can't get me. Ha ha! All of a sudden, he's in your swimming pool in the
Yeah.
back. Hey.
I will see you next time, hopefully. On the
Maybe.
old-fashioned.
Yeah, don't give up. Don't give
count
up
on
on us. It'll get
Yeah.
better.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Thank you for joining the Old Fashioned 3 on Stones Radio Networks. To stay updated on the show, like and subscribe on YouTube, and all shows are available for download on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, and of course at StonesRadioNetworks.com. Follow the show and the gents on Twitter at OL, Fashioned, and the number 3, at Phantom Radio 60, and at Whitey Gleason. This has been a production of Stones Radio Networks.